Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And today we're going to be taking on Heroes Jubilee. Now, for newer players, this video probably won't apply to you because you won't have the units necessary to even place that high. But you should still at least do the event once, as you know, and just complete it as best you can, and at least get some kind of rewards and some ranking stuff at the very end, because we can see ranking eventually. So the reward down here, top 0.1% gets this, but even if you just play and you do terribly, you're guaranteed at least some kind of crystal reward. And by doing all the stages, you're probably going to get at least like top 60% or something like that. So it's not it's not bad for you to at least attempt the stages and do them. It's free crystals, right? It's 120, 200 more crystals than you would have at the end of this event. So please don't just let it sit there and go to waste. Get something out of it. But for everybody else, this is a normal Jubilee video. So today we're going to be going over the normal battles. Currently rank 5. I don't really think I'm going to push that much harder. I might try and, do boss battle to get to 600k, but that's not the point of today. We're going after normal battles. So normal battle 1, 2, and 3. Rank 7, 2, and 7. Sure, fine, whatever. Rank or expert 1 and 3 are very much dependent on how much HP you have left, because there are damage caps for all 3 stages, 1,000,000 damage each, and then it's based on how much damage you took. So I'm not really concerned with these scores. They're pretty good. They're all 54k. I'm just a little bit lower. I don't really care. But let's get the disclaimers out of the way first. So disclaimer number 1, your results may vary. My units are, different levels than you, different gearing. I have, the availability of more units. So whatever you attempt to do on the stage and whatever I show you should be taken as an idea, and you have to use what you have to complete it. And if you don't have the perfect team, then you got to use what you got. But our scores may vary. Disclaimer number 2 is that these are the units I use for protection gauge, and these are the units I use for skill point gain on turn 1. So these are important builds. Again, not everyone is going to have the availability of them, but if I use them, and this is why I start out with so much protection gauge, or this is why I start out with so many skill points, is because I'm using whatever units that I'm using at that time. And number 3 is, please do not forget to go into your Town of Tempest and make sure to optimize your magic buildings based on, water, earth, or light, because you will get extra stats out of it, and they will make a difference as far as how much damage and how well you tank. So before every battle, make sure that your water, your earth, or your light building are maxed out. So with that said, let's get started with normal battle 1. Alright, so starting with normal battle 1, we're using a water team. My score is decent good. Again, this is a stage where the only thing that's going to keep me back is, damage taken. Unfortunately, I would need more dupes to make that happen, so I'm not terribly concerned about that, so I really don't care. But this is the team that I use to get my highest score. So we've got Protector Frey. Her charm is the extra protection gauge on green orbs. And then we also have the hero, free-to-play Isis, Shinsha, Shizu, and Hinata. So a lot of premium characters here. We are using skill point units here, so Milim and Soe, to give us extra points, so we can use both the Isis orb change and the green buff on turn 1, and we are nuking with Hinata. But one important thing to note is that none of the units have weapons on except for Hinata and Milim, because we do a lot of damage with these 3 right here, and I don't want to do that. So we're going to just have Hinata get the EX ult. No one else has weapons, so they could do as little damage as possible. But let's go ahead and start this up. I think I have to jump ahead a little bit. Yeah, right here. Okay. So we'll start this up. Sorry. Normally I have to cut those down, but I think we're fine here. So turn 1, it's set for an Isis orb change. So again, we're starting with 40 skill points, so we can use both the orb change and the green buff. And then we're going to go ahead and send 6 green. We're also going to bring Hinata and Shizu in because they will tank the best. Because Hinata and Shizu are at least getting the extra defense from Frey because they're on World of Fantasy. We're going to take out the middle mushroom first, because the middle mushroom raises his attack and guarantees that he's going to hit you harder than what you'd want. Because ideally, for a perfect run, you take 1 damage the entire way through each hit. So 1 damage there, and then we took 41. So we would need more dupes in Shinsha, unfortunately, because she's not getting the defense buff. But here, we're going to use the extra alt gauge to get Hinata up there. We're going to use Frey, and we need at least, I think, 3... well, actually, if you don't have any dupes, you would need 4 Hinata orbs, like what we have here, to get her EX ult. And then we kind of have to spread the damage out so we don't kill these 2 mushrooms. But there we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So the only thing we did there was use the Shizu ult buff plus the ult resistance down, because that does stay for 2 turns. And now we have the EX ult for Hinata, and we took some damage there. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. We have max points plus Frey, so we're going to use the element buff from Hinata, the EX alt buff from Shinsha, and then we're going to bring the hero in for the crit buff once we get Frey activated, because she'll give us 40 skill points, and then we're just going to go ahead and send the ult after we crit buff. So we didn't use the rewind here at all, but the crit buff will help us do damage cap. So we're going to hit this one with hero because she has no buffs on, really, not going to do that much, and Hinata does 437k. Which the damage cap is 1,000,000, so we should hit 1,000,000 right here. There we go. Just over 1,000,000 damage. That is the cap. So there we go. That's my best score. Again, the only way to make it better is to take less damage, which is all RNG and dupe based, so don't really worry about that. But that is the highest score for me. Let's move on to some alternate teams. Alright, the first alternate team I have is using a Water 1 or Water 2.0 strategy. We're going to nuke with both Shuna and Shion here, because they have type advantage. We're going to nuke a single target one with Shuna, and then clear the other 2 up with Shion here. We've got Protector Towa to give us the ult gauge that we would need to get both their ults. Thankfully, they're not EX units, so we don't need that much. And then we're using the normal protection trio. We've got Isis for the turn 1 orb change. Rimuru is here for his orb change, and then the hero is here for the rewind and the crit buff, because the crit buff from the hero is better than the crit buff from Shion. So this is the team I had built as is. If I wanted to really do it, I would swap the hero for Shuna and put someone else under Shuna and make her do a little bit more damage, but it is what it is. The strategy is still the same. So let's go ahead and pop this up, and then we got to fast forward a bit. That's the entire run. Okay, cool. So start turn, we'll use Isis Orb Change, and then we'll bring in Shion for the hero, and we'll bring in Shion for Rimuru, and then we'll bring the hero in for Isis. And then we'll spread the damage out. We're going to leave all 3 mushrooms alive here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. No one has gear on except for now Shuna and Shion, because there are nukers. So that's also important. We sent the whole 6 because I was very certain that we weren't going to kill the middle mushroom. We are going to take damage here, so it doesn't really matter. But here we're going to rewind. And then we're going to use Towa to give us a full 6 hand of oranges. And that should get us very close to the ults for Shion and Shuna. We get an ult for Shion right here. So we're going to send the damage now on the second mushroom, because again, we're not going to kill him. And then on the rewind, we're looking for a good full blue orb change, because I want double Towa. So here we got very lucky. So the hero has 2 orbs, and then there's 2 greens. So we can bring Rimuru in for the hero, convert those 2, and then use his green orb change, and that'll make a full blue send, while giving us max points and double protector, which is what we're going to need to do a full buff. So here we're going to send the other 6 on this mushroom, and get them all fairly low. And then next turn we're going to full buff with Shuna, with the hero, and Shion's water buff, and then we're going to nuke. And it's not going to get you the best score, but it will get you a score. That counterattack from Rimuru gave me a heart attack, because I'd had to do the stage like 10 times because they kept countering and killing one of the mushrooms. Not what you want. But here, we're going to bring in the hero for Rimuru, eventually. We'll use the water resistance and ult buff first, and then we'll bring the hero in. Again, the hero's buff with the 30% crit resistance down is better than Shion's crit buff with the extra 10% magic damage. Like, you want to use the hero's buff. But we need double protector to have enough points to use all three 55-point buffs. So that's why we had to have that rewind turn full of blues. So there we go. We are full buffed right here. We're going to send the single target and then the AoE to finish up. No more orbs, so Shuna does 138, and then Shion clears up with 84k. So definitely not a million damage, but if this is what you have to use, it's what you got to use. And the final score ends up being 44k, still an S rank. We're 600,000 points shy of cap, but again, it is what it is. Use what you got. So that's the second team. Let's move on to the third team. Alright, here is the third team that we're going to be using today for normal 1. We've got Protector Treyni instead to give us that extra defense down debuff plus, full hands of blues plus the extra 40 points, so it allows us to use a couple buffs. We've got Velzard here. I wanted to use a different option than Isis, so maybe you pulled Velzard, maybe you don't have Isis done because you're starting out and she's not readily available, so here's another option for you. We've got EX Hinata, which you may or may not have pulled off the new tickets, right, because she's in there. She is here for her triple orb steal and her crit buff, because we're not going to have enough points to use all three big time buffs since Rimuru costs 80. Shuna is here again for the alt buff and the water resistance down since Rimuru is water. The hero's here for the rewind, and that's about it. And then Rimuru's here, hopefully with his EX alt and his massive physical buff and his orb changing. So we're nuking with Rimuru, hopefully with his buff, the alt buff, the crit buff from Hinata since he is on Shizu's will. Hinata does give him the crit at least, and then we'll have the defense down debuff from Treyni. So let's go ahead and put this up. I think everything is fine. Yeah, everything is fine here. So turn 1, we'll orb change with Velzard, and then we'll go ahead and send it. We're going to be even weaker. We'll swap Hinata out, that way next turn we can bring her in for whoever has 3 orbs, and we can give that to Rimuru. Send this on the middle mushroom. Again, we're going to leave him alive for now for maximum overkill. And yeah, we don't even do that much damage. We get 4 orbs with Velzard, which is great because she's the least useful unit on this team now. We needed her for orb change, and that is literally it. So we'll go ahead and rewind here, and then we'll steal 6 into Rimuru. And then we'll also activate Treyni to ensure that on the rewind turn 2.5, they will be all blue orbs, which would give us a lot of Treyni, a lot of protection gauge, hopefully enough alt gauge right here, but we have a lot of oranges, so I think we'll be okay. We're going to send 1, and then we're going to send the rest of them on the second mushroom just to get him a little bit lower and ensure that we don't accidentally kill this other mushroom if we, pierce or something, which I'm pretty sure we would have anyways, but still. There we go. We're very close to the Rimuru ult, so we only need, 1 blue orb, and thankfully we do get exactly 1 fucking blue Rimuru orb. And a lot of Shunas, but again, that's okay. We're going to send all of this on this last mushroom here, and then we will be ready to go. So crit, alright, cool, but now we have the EX alt, we've got double protection plus maximum points, and we're ready to go ahead and nuke here. So, we're not going to use the hero buff because that costs too much. We'll use the physical Rimuru buff, and then we'll go ahead and bring Hinata in for the hero, and then we have 80 points, but technically 100 points. So there's 1, and then there's 2 for 100. We'll use the alt buff plus the water resistance down, and then we'll use the Hinata crit buff, and then we'll go ahead and EX nuke. And this will be pretty good. It'll be better than the last team, technically. So we're not going to worry about anything else. We're just going to send it, and Rimuru does 162 across the board, which is double what Shion did, right, last time. So we'll do that, and our final score ends up being, I think, 47 or something like that. Yeah, 47. So there we go. There's the 3 teams that you can use for boss battle or normal battle 1. Let's move on to normal battle 2. Alright, you know what? We're actually going to split these up into their own individual videos. So this will be the end of the normal battle 1 video. I'll have normal battle 2 and 3 coming out, and then boss battle 1 and 2 over the next couple of days. But as far as substitutions for nukers here, obviously you've got your AoEs, You could do 2 single targets if you really can swing it. So like you could do Milim and Aqua, or Rain, Kazuma, Shinsha even. You could single target with her. Other than that, like your AoE options are pretty limited. We have 2 more single targets here. So realistically, you're pretty set on that. Alice, I guess, well, not that one, but Water Alice down at the very bottom is another water unit you may have available to you since she's such an old unit. But obviously, water attacks are going to be what's best to use here. You could also use the Protector Milim. You just got to be really careful with the amount of damage you do against these mushrooms, because she's going to give that extra bonus if you're using Hinata, and she could just straight up murder them before you even get to the nuke turn. But again, play around with the options you have in your box. But that's it for me, guys. Take it easy. Let me know if you like these videos split up. I know I asked this a while ago and most people said 1 video, but we're going to test this out and see how well the videos do. But let me know if you enjoy each video being its own individual kind of shorter one, or if you still like the super long 45 to an hour long with timestamps. Please let me know so I can adjust. But that's it for me, guys. Take it easy, and I'll see you next time.